Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister and her cabinet serenade patrons at the closing of Diwali Nagar. The National Institute of Higher Education Research, Science and Technology hosts award ceremony for its science music video competition. Public Utilities Minister says government's effort to communicate with the citizenry will be enhanced even more as the state-owned telecommunications services launches their new 4G service. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar is calling on citizens across the nation to take a page from Hanuman in his service to the people. The Prime Minister was speaking to those gathered for the closing of this year's Diwali Nagar. Members of her cabinet also surprised patrons at the event when they serenaded patrons with a bhajan, honoring Goddess of Light, Mother Lakshmi.
Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar and her cabinet joining in chorus and unison as they sang a bhajan to Goddess Lakshmi at the closing night of Diwali Nagar 2012. Among the group of ministers were Marlene Kudre and Chrislyn Moore, while the chorus was led by local government minister Dr. Suraj Ratan Rambachan. As the curtains came down on this year's event, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar addressed those gathered and drew mention to this year's Nagar theme, focused on the story of Lord Hanuman as one that shares the message of service, something she says remains an important aspect to her cabinet's mandate to the people.
A leader who is filled with fear has already lost the battle. Tonight, I want to give you the assurance that as your Prime Minister, I will go about my duties without fear and without favor. I am not easily driven to be fearful. I might be cautious, as I need to be, but I say I am not afraid to treat with the challenges which confront our nation, which confront our people, and which confront the principles of our nation.
The theme of this year's Diwali Nagar was Ram Bhakta Hanuman, which means faithful devotee of Rama Hanuman. Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar calls on the public to take a message from Hanuman and give selflessly to one another, as we all belong to the human race.
The greater message is and must be, and must always be so, that greater message must be one of humility. Hanuman knew, and we must all know, that whatever power we have, whatever position we have, whatever status we may attain, whatever skill we have, we must always remember and stay grounded to know, remind ourselves every single day that all these have been gifts given to us by Almighty God. And we should use such power, we should use such position, not for self-aggrandizement, but for the good of humankind.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister adds that annual celebrations like the Diwali Nagar centers around the sharing of cultures, a valuable trait found only in being a diverse nation.
In a country as diverse as ours, we must always have an open mind and seek to find the similarities in our traditions that are not our own, as well as to understand the basis of the beliefs of our fellow citizens. This will always require openness and a willingness to enter the cultural frame of others. I assure you that there is merit in doing so.
For over 20 years, the Diwali Nagar has opened its doors annually in commemoration of the Festival of Lights, teaching and sharing the message Diwali holds. This year, the celebration closed with a bang, from singing to dancing and not to mention fireworks.
गान चतुराय गान प्राण प्रणताय गानोत्सुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरु हो राम रे राम हो राम रे राम हो राम रे राम हो राम रे राम हो राम दिल बोलो ये मिल के बोलो
Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Residents of Caroni Central constituency came out to celebrate Diwali at the Freeport Presbyterian School over the weekend as a community. Member for Parliament for the area, Minister of the People and Social Development, the Honourable Dr. Glenn Ramadasing, joined in the celebrations and shared the message of love and peace Diwali brings to his constituents as one that can dispel all darkness from society.
Minister of the People and Social Development, Dr. Glenn Ramadasing, is urging citizens to spread the light of Diwali to their fellow men and citizens. This was his message to residents in his constituency of Caroni Central as they gathered for Diwali celebrations.
1,000 diyas cannot give light unless one with light gives one without light. Am I right? When you started here today with this lighting of the diyas, how many diyas did you start with? 2. One with light and one without light. And then that one with light gave light to another without light. But it started with 2. One that had and one that did not have. And that is how you begin to change a society. That is how you light up the Freeport Presbyterian School grounds. With one person who has something, giving it to someone who does not have.
He says sharing the love and light the message of Diwali brings can create a stronger nation.
If someone does not want to give to the other, what you have? Darkness. And therefore, somebody else has to pick up a diya from a next side and say, look like this diya I want to give. Let's give. But the story is that once as we all try to make life a little better for someone else, we can have a brighter, more peaceful society. We can have the kind of society that we dream of in Trinidad and Tobago, where all our peoples are coming together for one purpose, and that is to build a great nation.
This year's celebrations is said to be the second largest function held in the area, next to the Diwali Nagar. Minister Ramadasing describes it as one that serves as uniting the community against darkness that prevails in society.
The fact that Diwali is about the sharing of virtues, of talents, and passing on those virtues to others, so that that peace, that light can become a greater light and dispel darkness, the darkness of evil, the darkness of selfishness, and bring together people for peace, love and unity for the development of Trinidad and Tobago.
Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
When we come back, the Ministry of Works opened the newly constructed Camden Road. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Ministry of Works is pleading with Camden Link Road residents to drive responsibly and exercise consideration, not only to protect our nation's assets, but to preserve the lives of the traveling public. This as the Minister of Works opened the newly constructed Camden Road in Couva South. Minister of Works, the Honourable Emmanuel George, says the Camden Link Road was upgraded so that persons could have an alternative avenue for getting through Couva South until the bridge was reconstructed. the minister gave a report on the status of the bridge.
We were supposed to start, as I said, in November of this year. But as we speak, designs for the new bridge have been completed. Tender documents will be submitted to by the design consultants on Monday, the 12th of November. And tender documents will be produced on the basis of those designs, and tenders will be invited by November 16th of 2012. We will be giving a month for the tenders to be sent in by prospective contractors, prospective bidders, so that by the middle of December, we should have those tenders in.
He says by mid-January of 2013, construction work will begin on the bridge, and made a plea for the residents' understanding and patience on the issue.
To all the residents of that area to whom we had promised some 3 months ago that work will start on the bridge in November, I plead for your patience. There were some hiccups and therefore some delays, but I've given you a status on what is happening as we speak, and we expect, with all the design work finished and the tendering documents being completed and tenders to be invited in the middle of this month, and the tender period lasting for 1 month, that by the end of December we should be able to have completed the assessment of the tenders and subsequently to award the contracts for the works to begin in January.
MP for the area, Rudy Endarsing, says the opening of this new road is a hallmark by the government.
We did not wait for 22 years to reopen the bridge. We have found in less than 6 months, I think if I could recollect correctly, a temporary solution. And in addition to that, I am sure that Minister George will say much more on the commencement of work as it relates to the construction, of the new bridge at Balmain.
Alan Sipasad, councillor for the area, took the opportunity to thank the government for hearing the cries of the people and for speedily upgrading the bridge.
I remember this road was a trace linked to the base, and I know that in Caroni days the tractors and the trailers and all those vehicles were to pass here to cut the canes and so on. And today I am very proud to see, in the good leadership of our Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the People Partnership, to see goods and services delivering to us in Couva North and Couva South.
Camden Link Road is a 2.7 kilometer long roadway located in the constituency of Couva South and provides access to Calcutta No. 2, Freeport Village. It forms an important link between Couva and the Freeport community, since it serves immediately over 200 persons of the villages. The road was originally developed as part of the Caroni Lands Limited and as an urgent route to facilitate the transportation of cane. With residential growth in the area and the dismantling of the Caroni Limited, the roads were no longer maintained and thus degenerated into a deplorable state with inadequate drainage. In 2012, Camden Link Road was earmarked for upgrade, with the intention of not only improving the lives of villagers, but as an alternative route for commuters. This became a reality in August 2012, when construction work began. In keeping with the project's scope to promote longevity, Pure has constructed 622 box drains in the surrounding areas. Additionally, upgraded and rehabilitative is the full length of the roadway, prepared and paved at an increased width of 5 meters, thus improving the level of service of road users. The National Institute of Higher Education Research, Science and Technology, NIHIST, has held the awards ceremony for its science music video competition. The competition encouraged the youth of Trinidad and Tobago between the ages of 14 and 28 to use the arts and sciences to promote the importance of science, technology, and innovation in this country's development.
NIHIST's Science Music Video Competition was launched earlier this year in association with BPTT, the UE Creative Arts Department and the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival. The music video pieces submitted by participants are expected to contribute to increasing public awareness and engagement in science, technology and innovation for empowerment in daily living. Newhurst adopted the music video competition as an important part of its wider mission to foster a national culture of science, technology and innovation through marrying youth and the creative arts. Speaking at the awards ceremony, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Science and Technology, Mrs. Angela Sinaswi-Gervais expresses the importance of marrying the two. She adds that nurturing and recognizing the creativity of our country's youth is also essential to achieve economic diversification.
It is this science, technology and innovation which are essential to spur our economic diversification thrust. Nurturing and recognizing the creativity of our nation's youth is also essential to spur our economic diversification thrust. Therefore, in order to develop the needed culture of innovation and science, we need to bring these two areas together.
She adds that not only this government has recognized the importance of science, technology and innovation, but also the United Nations. Mrs. Sinaswi-Gervais suggests these three things can open up and develop an economy in so many ways.
So central are science, technology, innovation and culture to economic development that it will be the focus of the United Nations Economic and Social Council in 2013. In fact, the Council is certain that science, technology and innovation can play a critical role in achieving each and every Millennium Development Goal by fostering access to knowledge, also by increasing productivity, industrialization, economic growth, and the creation of decent jobs. It can assist countries like ours, for example, in promoting health and access to essential drugs and achieving food security through sustainable, equitable agricultural systems and by raising production and incomes, especially of small farms.
She says initiatives like these will lessen the possibility of the population being segregated through technology and thus increase the impact on ICT development in the nation.
Successful ICT-based initiatives in science education, training, research and outreach can contribute to achieving a greater development impact. However, to realize this goal, science and technology must be made more accessible and attractive to the average citizen. Otherwise, we run the risk of creating knowledge and digital divides so wide that significant portions of our population will be lost in it.
The first place in the competition received $20,000, while second place received $15,000 and third place took home $10,000. Additionally, over $20,000 was distributed in special prizes.
Okay, so
Gregory
we're going to
McBurney,
make those
News 4.
presentations.
Sports is up next after the break. Stay with us. In August 2011, Trinidad and Tobago famously qualified for the World Junior Water Polo Championships for the first time. Performing at the hemispheric version of the event in Puerto Rico, the team advanced to the World Championships with wins over Canada, Peru and Puerto Rico in a qualifying contest which also included the United States, Colombia and Brazil. The sports company of Trinidad and Tobago has therefore contributed $250,000 towards the team's airfare and accommodation for the tournament, which takes place from the 1st to the 9th of December 2012 in Perth, Australia. The championships will be the first world tournament for junior water polo to be hosted by governing body for aquatic sports, FINA. And after the break, the Minister of Public Utilities speaks at new 4G launch. Public Utilities Minister, the Honorable Nizam Bakhsh, says government's effort to communicate with the citizenry through social networking will now be enhanced even more. He makes this promise as the state-owned telecommunications services of Trinidad and Tobago launches their new 4G service.
Minister Bakhsh says his ministry expects that the launch of TSTT B-Mobile's 4G data service will facilitate the easier delivery of public services. He says government ministries are attempting to use social networking sites to reach out to the public. He adds that the Information Communications and Technology or ICT policy being implemented by the government can now be developed further through the launch of the new 4G service.
The Ministry of Public Utilities already anticipates that the launch of B-Mobile's 4G service will allow the government to build upon our Information Communications and Technology ICT policy and facilitate the easier delivery of public services. At present, various ministries are engaged in an array of e-government initiatives, most notably maintaining a social media presence through Facebook and Twitter, with the aim of bridging the communication divide between citizens and the administration.
Minister Bakhsh emphasizes the many beneficial and productive possibilities that can now be realized through the availability of this service. He indicates that these benefits range from education to health and even national security. The Public Utilities Minister says there is even the chance for this service to have a profound financial effect on the development of the economy.
Also, the intention to integrate internet-enabled education throughout the school system is now a viable possibility through the launch of this 4G service. These anticipated applications and the benefits to be gained in both the lives of ordinary citizens and fields such as national security, health services, and tourism, to name a few, add up to the government's continuing to make strides in recognizing ICT and the information technology industry as a central pillar of the economy through its partnership with TSTT. A pillar which some experts suggest has the potential to yield a threefold increase in GDP for every dollar invested in developing 4G and 15,000 possible jobs for every $1 billion spent.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
And that's how we wrap up our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.